posted afterwards, our webinars rather, at calivideos.blip.tv, so you can always go there and watch your favorites. And on today's call is myself on the far left, and then my colleagues Austin Greathouse and John Mayer. We've got you in listen-only mode, not mood. I don't know what your mood is. And there's a little icon that you can press somewhere on your screen that indicates that you're raising your hand. So let's take a survey here if we could quickly. All of those who would classify themselves as some sort of librarian, if you would raise your virtual green iconic hand, that would be great.
Can you see it, Deb?
No, I'm not seeing anybody.
Okay, yeah, I can see it. We have all but about 5 or 6 librarians.
Okay, great. Thanks, Austin. And then for the other 5 or 6, if you would consider yourself to be IT people, if you would raise your hands.
We have Elmer Masters raising his hand.
Oh, excellent. Good. I'm glad Elmer's in that group. And then for anyone who's left, if you consider yourself faculty, if you would raise your hand. And I recognize these groups are non-exclusive and Venn diagram into multiple things. That's also the way you can ask a question anytime, and Austin obviously is monitoring this. So let's move on here. We're going to talk today about using CALI Author, and there are 2 reasons that you might want to learn how to use CALI Author: to create your own lessons or to modify existing lessons. And we talked 2 weeks ago with our webinar on auto-publish and listen link about why you'd want to modify existing lessons. So this is more information on that. A couple tips about authoring. Save often. You can change anything you want at any time. People feel that whenever they write something in CALI Author, it's permanent. We're writing in a software program. We're not chiseling things on a rock. So things can be changed. If in doubt, click your cursor. That's my default rule. So if a feature doesn't appear in the software, move your cursor somewhere to the middle of the page and click it, and magic happens. Generally, you can't lose anything in CALI Author unless you choose to delete it, and there's some warning screens built in that ask you questions like, do you really want to do this? And you get to answer yes or no. So even if you are authoring something and you think you've deleted something, chances are it's just hiding. So before you panic, call us so we can help you find it. And then finally, more of a substantive sort of thing is, as you write a lesson, think about the sequence of teaching the material and common places of confusion for students. Those are just some things to think about as we approach the software. So we're going to cover a number of topics. This is by no means inclusive of all things that one could learn using CALI Author. It's a pretty easy to use software, and we've got an online authoring manual also that's designed to help. The first thing you want to do is download and install the software. So you go to our website, you click on Law Faculty Interest. Down at the bottom it says CALI Author Software, and then there's an icon, or not an icon, but a navigation bar that allows you to follow to downloading the software. Then you download and install it as you would anything else. There's an FAQ about it at thistinyurl.com. And then there is an online manual, as I mentioned. And to get to the online manual, what you do is go to Law Faculty, and then the CALI Author manual is just above Download CALI Author. It's an online manual, and the trick to using this, I think, is in the upper left-hand corner of the manual, there's a button that says Show. And there's also a very enticing link that says Getting Started Guide. And the Getting Started Guide, I think of it more as a tourism brochure. It's something that you might want to read about before you get to a place. But once you're at the place, you want to actually know where the restaurants are and how to get to them. So click on Show, and you'll get more detailed directions. You actually get a search feature then. The trick about the search feature is you kind of have to enter words that are words that I may have put into the system. So think like Deb if you can. It's a treat, I assure you. And type in words that you think are sort of generic to the type of skill you're trying to figure out. So I typed in multiple choice, and you see with the yellow arrow, I put my search words in there, and then the purple arrow shows a number of different things about multiple choice I can get. I can get multiple choice list of choices, multiple choice set. I chose multiple choice set, and then by clicking on that, it displays a page on the right side of the screen, complete with screen grabs and all sorts of other information that hopefully will guide you through using a particular page type. So once CALI Author is installed, you're ready to start authoring. When you open up the software, the first thing you see is a screen that says, Welcome to CALI Author, and it has 3 icons, and we want to create a new book. So we click on that, and then an information box pops up on top of that with a number of places that you can fill in information. You want to fill in the lesson title, you want to fill in the category, take out the EG, obviously. The copywriter already fill in there. Some faculty have been putting for credits, the number of credits the course is worth at their school. By credits, we actually mean photo credits or credit to someone for material that you've borrowed with permission, that sort of thing. And then there's a place for catalog description. The catalog description, if you're writing a lesson for CALI, is scraped out of the lesson and magically appears on our website, so students who are searching for a particular lesson can read the catalog description. So this is very vital and important information. The approximate completion time generally is filled out just as you finish up the lesson, drafts and drafts in the future, and this is our best guess as to how long it'll actually take students to work through the lesson. I've crossed out the OK button in the upper right-hand corner because what you might want to do is tab across the 4 tabs that are on the lesson info page here, particularly lesson and authors. And on the author tab, you're going to add information about yourself. So click the edit tab and add your name and add your title, add your affiliation, and then click OK. We're generally suggesting folks leave out their phone number and email these days. You also want to probably, you can look at revision history and codes, but you probably want to leave those tabs alone. If you put a code on, that means you've blocked the lesson and locked it out. If you forget the code, it's kind of tragic because we can't unlock the lesson for you. So it's just trickier to edit the lesson, obviously, if it's locked up. So once you fill out that information, you're then popped into the opening screen of the lesson as a student would see it. And the first box that appears is a default instruction box that is in every single lesson and that you cannot edit. This has been created by CALI for your convenience and the convenience of the students. It's a generic introduction to instructions for using all the question types. So I'm going to click the red X, or the X, rather it's not red, but the arrow is red. Click the X, and this is what's left. My lesson title, which is all the material that I filled on from the info page, and I didn't finish any of this information, but if I had put my name in, my name and school and lesson title would appear here. And then on the left side, I've circled what we call the menu or the outline. And we're going to talk about that first. So to get into the menu and outline, I have to do one of 2 things. To move from student mode to authoring mode, you have to enter the authoring mode by pressing either function key F3 or clicking on View from the top taskbar and then selecting Authoring from the pull-down menu. So F3 is the key to moving between authoring and viewing mode, which is the way students see it. So we've now pressed F3 and we're in the authoring mode. And the first thing you see on the left is some default pages. You see our menu headings that we had before, Introduction, Questions, and Conclusion. And you see a red, or you see a plus sign to the left of each menu heading. And you can click that plus sign and it will expand out and show you all pages listed under there. But first we're going to click on the Edit Outline button. And the Edit Outline button allows you to edit the outline. It pulls up a pop-up screen, which on my screen capture here has appeared just below the Edit Outline button. So that's the part of the screen you're seeing. And I kind of went nuts here with all of my arrows and call-outs and things. So let me talk you through what everything means. The arrows at the top are pointing to the yellow highlighted introduction. I highlighted those so that we could see them. Notice that the introduction heading on the left is associated with a related page on the right. You always have to have a related page to a menu heading. And then you can add a topic at any time by simply putting your cursor in any one of these horizontal fields. So if I wanted to add a menu heading after questions, for example, I would put my cursor at the end of the green box in questions and then click the button in the lower left corner of your screen called Add Topic. That would insert a new topic at the same level right before questions and right after questions and right before conclusion. Well, what if you then decide it's in the wrong place? You really want this new heading to be after introduction and before questions, not after questions. Well, then these 4 arrow keys that I've used, these wild and woolly arrows to point to, they control direction. They can move your heading up, or they can indent it or dedent it, if that's the word. Whatever the opposite of indent is. Outdent, I'm not sure. This is where faculty and authors first lose pages in their lesson, and it can be a scary moment. So let me warn you about it and tell you nothing's ever gone. It's just hiding. If you were to indent the question heading using the indenting right arrow button, the question 1 on the right would vanish. It really hasn't gone anywhere. It's just hiding in your menu structure, and you can find it one of 2 ways: by outdenting the question heading again, or by reconnecting, and then reconnecting the page to the particular heading. We go into that in more detail in future webinars, but I just want you to understand you've never lost anything. So once you've got the menu headings, or outline as we call this, table of contents, as you like it, then near the lower right part of the screen you'll see an OK button, and I put a green check mark by that, and when the headings are just as you like them, you can click that OK button and move on. We've got a number of editing tools in CALI Author. It's not as robust as Word or an HTML editor. We want you to focus on adding content rather than adding blue fonts that spin out in a counterclockwise manner going from 10 to 450 size. You can't control the size of the font, actually. That's a student choice that can be made. But you can control whether the text is bold, italics, or underlined. You can control whether it's centered or left justified. You can create some bullet point lists. And very nicely, we've got a section symbol and a spell checker, which I've highlighted with black arrows. Those are 2 of my favorite tools, and they're really easy to find up at that top taskbar. The pink highlighted question is reminding us that this is a book page. CALI Author has about 14 page types, including 13 different question types. You can add an image, a picture, on any single question page that you want in the lesson. However, on a book page, you can add sound, video, and animation. And by animation, I don't mean a cartoon that you might watch on Saturday morning. Instead, I mean something that more closely resembles a PowerPoint show or slides that are going in still one following the other. So there are 3 default menu headings on the left, as you can see, and each of the tabs has sub-tabs under it. We're not going to have time to cover all of the tabs across the top left of the screen, the Pages, Mapper, Search, and Link Checker, and we're not going to have time to cover all the tabs on the right of the screen today, but I do hope to cover those in future webinars, and I hope you join us. A lot of the editing tools that I've now highlighted in blue are also found under the Insert and Edit pull-down menus at the top left of the screen. So let's talk about how do we add a page to a lesson. Well, I'm on the introduction page right now, And I know that because on the left side of the screen, the word introduction is grayed out. That's telling me that's the page that I'm on. So what I'm going to do is add a page that follows the introduction page. So in the lower left-hand corner of the screen is a button that says Add Page. I'm going to click on this. The new page is going to follow in sequence immediately after the introduction page. So clicking my Add Page button brings up a pop-up screen that says, what would you like to call this? The default name for this page was Introduction 1. And the reason is that CALI gives you a default name for your page, and it takes the name of the previous page and it adds a number to it. And it's kind of convenient if you want to have your pages named in sequence. I call this page Baseline Question 1, and later in this half hour I'll tell you how to change a page name. So once I've named my page, I click OK, and then I'm prompted for a choice. What type of page on the left would I like this to be? And then what subtype of page? Some pages have subtypes. A book page does not have a subtype. A multiple choice page does have a subtype. And if you're counting the pages along the left and looking at the things on the right and wondering how did I end up with 13 question types and 14 page types, it's because of all the math permutations that exist in these columns. So in page type pointed to here with arrow number 1, I've selected multiple choice. Arrow number 2, I've picked list of choices, which is the multiple choice question that most of us have done a gazillion of by this point in our life. And the yellow arrow is pointing to a teeny tiny little iconic representation of what that page type will look like, just as a reminder that this is what the page type looks like. So once I've made all these decisions, I can click the OK button and move on. So now you see my baseline question 1 automatically appears in my menu structure on the left, and I've highlighted the question tab and put in text because what you need for any question, of course, is a question. So I typed in the text, are you expecting this lesson to be difficult? And just a reminder, what does any question need? You need facts or materials to base the entire question on. That we call the question tab. You need something for the students to select from usually. That's choices. And depending on your question type, choices will look different. Sometimes choices might be true and false. Sometimes choices might be sections from a particular statute. Sometimes choices might be particular quotations. Sometimes it's multiple choice as it is here. And then of course you need an answer, which we call the response. So we're going to work with these 3 tabs primarily in creating this question. So the question choices response tab are all next to each other, which is very convenient. You can just tab from one to the next. And the first thing I have to do is select how many choices do I want this question to have. I can select anywhere from 2 to 6, and because I'm a lazy typist, I selected 3 for us, and I added in all my choices. So these are my choices in response to my question. Do I expect this to be a difficult lesson? And I've put in all my choices here. Now you see that all the choices have a yellow question mark on the left of them, just to the left of the A, B, C button that students will choose. The yellow question is the default setting, and you need to change this for the lesson. So what I'm going to do is right-click on the yellow question mark, and a little pop-up button will appear. And it's telling me right now this is set to maybe. Maybe is a fabulous choice, and maybe is very accurate for a lot of the law. The problem is maybe is scored wrong in the world of CALI Author. In fact, wrong is scored wrong, maybe is scored wrong, and information is scored wrong. The only thing scored right is a green check mark for right. Well, if you have a question where all the choices are ambiguous, yellow, or all the choices are red for wrong, or all the choices are informational, and you do not disable scoring, then students will become very frustrated when they're forced to choose between all wrong answers. You can disable scoring one of 2 ways. You can click on the Info tab and then find the Scoring tab. You can call me, and I'll talk you through the process. You can go to the online manual and search the phrase Disable Scoring. For right now, I'm going to make life simple and I'm going to set these correct and incorrect. So right now I've set no because I'm a really good listener as wrong, along with the response no because I watch a lot of court TV shows and police dramas as wrong. The correct answer is you've been reading the course materials as distributed through CALI's eLangDel and attending classes. So now we've got our question set, we've got our choices set. What's left? The response. So I'm going to click on the response tab, and there are 4 tabs, one for each choice. If I had selected 6 choices, there would be an A, B, C, D, E, F. You'll notice that I highlighted the choice A, and it gives me a reminder of what this particular choice was, and that helps me when I'm writing in my response so that I know which choice I'm responding to. You'll see that there's also a tab there called Shared Response. This is a typing key saver. This is fantastic if you want to give the same response and reason and analysis for all of the choices. It is seen by all the choices, so it's not a tab or a thing you want to use if you want the student to try another choice. It doesn't make any sense, obviously, in that setting. So the shared response, as I said, is seen by all. So here I've put in the answer for the main correct answer, and I also like to include a transition sentence because I like to move the students from the last page of any section back to the main menu. This is an interactive lesson. They don't really have a sense otherwise as to where they are in the lesson, so they tend to think sometimes, those that worry more, that something has gone wrong and they've been taken to the wrong place. All other students are gaining knowledge that they're missing. So a nice transition sentence, as simple as it is, can often ease their mind and move them confidently through the lesson. So now I'm at the part where I name pages. And I want to give you a caution here that student name, if I name a page something as I've done here, which is called repeated explanation, when will they ever learn? This is perhaps not the best thing because students actually see this name of the page in the student mode. I've clicked on the student mode tab and switched to student view, and you can see that they actually see this, so you want to be careful with naming pages. You don't want to name things the right answer, the wrong thing or answer, or anything like that. I've also included some interesting information in this, including my 5-minute rule, which is anytime you're working with CALI Author and have spent 5 minutes working on something and you can't figure out how to do it, please contact me because the chances are that I have actually worked through this. And folks have said, well, I checked the online manual too, Deb, and it was no help, and I noticed you wrote it. So I kind of let you have your Saturday to yourself. Thanks anyway. Good point. I've learned a lot, I think. I'd like to think I have at least since writing the online manual years and years ago. While I constantly update it, it's a back burner project for me, to be real honest, so it's probably always lagging behind what I really know. And try calling me, I hopefully know the answer. So now we're at the part where we change the page of name. You change the page name by clicking on the Info tab highlighted in blue, the Info tab highlighted in yellow. I've crossed out the actual page name text field because the intuitive thing is to put your cursor there and try and change it there. That's not the way CALI Author works. Instead, you click the button called Change Name. Another screen pops up. You type in your new name where the highlighted blue is at the bottom. And now I've called this page Facts About My 5-Minute Rule, and it renames itself over in the outline on the left. One other thing you might want to consider about naming pages. Look at the page list on the left and look at the page list on the right. On the left, the student has no idea where they are in the process of naming the pages. Things are named in sequence, which is nice, but they don't have a sense of where they are in the whole. On the right side, I've renamed all the pages Material on Doctrine of Blah Blah, 1 of 5, etc. So students have a sense, this is where I am in the lesson. If I need to leave for class in 5 minutes, I have a rough estimate that if I'm on page 4 or 5, maybe I can get through the 5th page before running off to class.
Hey, Deb.
Hi.
Hey, I have a question from an audience member.
Excellent.
Question is about spell check.
Yes.
They're wondering about it.
Spell check exists. You click the icon, and it does two things. It first spell checks the entire page that you're sitting on, and then second, it asks you, would you like to spell check the entire lesson? And you can choose to decline or accept that invitation. The nice thing about the spell checker is it allows you to add words, so it becomes your own personal spell checker. So if you work in the area of environmental law, for example, where there are a lot of chemical names, and you want to add a chemical name to the spell chart list, you can do that. And that's basically how it works. Is there some other specific about it?
It's located on that toolbar, right?
It's located on that toolbar, yes, thanks, Austin. It's located on the toolbar, only on the toolbar, and it's an ABC icon with a little check mark.
Right, along with bold and italic and things like that.
Exactly. I view it sort of, if you divide your screen into 3 columns and then 3 rows, as though you were doing tic-tac-toe on your computer screen, it would be in the upper right quadrant.
Yep.
Okay. Well, as the question indicates, there are a lot of details about CALI Author that I'm pretty much flying through here. So I would invite you to contact me with questions, attend additional webinars. I would invite you to try downloading CALI Author and writing your first lesson. And what should you write it about? Anything except the law, to be real honest. I like to write my first lesson about things I would like to receive as a birthday gift. Then you can practice your auto-publishing skills, send a URL to your family and loved ones, and give them some not-so-subtle tips on what you'd like to receive for your birthday. So try something that you know the answer to, your hobby, names of your family members. Avoid complex topics like the law. This has been the end. We've got our next webinar coming up in 2 weeks on the Pre-CALI Conference Seminar. I've included some pages here with notes and contact information if you want to check us out on CALI videos at Blip TV. And then remind everyone that we've got an amazing collection of nearly 400 images in our CALI library that you can use in your lessons or in your classroom presentations. Any other questions?
We're going to have some questions here, Deb. I think Norm, Professor Garland has some questions. And I unmuted him, so he should be on right now.
Hi, Norm.
Hi, Deb. I missed where the Add a Page button was.
It's in your lower left-hand corner. If we're playing with our tic-tac-toe board, numbering things 1, 2, 3 across the top, 4, 5, 6 on the middle, and 7, 8, 9 on the bottom, it's going to be in quadrant 7.
Thank you.
And maybe I'm describing Battleship, actually, the game.
I got it. Either way.
Thanks.
All right, thank you, Professor Garland. The next question comes from, and I apologize for the pronunciation, Jutek Lee. Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, what's your question?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, whether anybody can be an author?
Oh, yes, anyone can be an author who's write a lesson for CALI if you're at a CALI member school. What school are you at?
At the University of Miami?
I'm sorry, I missed the first word.
University of Miami.
Oh, yes, down in Coral Gables?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. You folks are a member, so you could write lessons for your students for use in your own classes, or you could contact me and write a lesson on something specific that CALI needs.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
If anybody else has questions, you can raise your hand or shoot me another question, either through chat or through the question tool. Okay, you can go ahead, Deb.
Are there any other questions? Well,
I don't believe. Oh, we do have one.
Oh,
Cindy,
we do?
I'm going to unmute Cindy.
Hi. I was just wondering what you said about writing your first lesson and sending it to your family and friends. How does that work? Are there separate places for official CALI that students can get on, and CALI lessons that we just write for fun, or?
Right. That's a great question. The CALI lessons that we distribute come through our website, and they're officially reviewed, and they go through a very extensive review process before being published to our website. And the feature that I'm talking about using if you're going to write a lesson that you just want to share with your students or I'm being somewhat silly here, share it with your family and friends, is a feature called auto-publish. And auto-publish was the topic of our webinar 2 weeks ago. So I'm trying to tease you to go look at our Blip TV video on that. And auto-publish was also covered on our FAQs. If you go to our website, go to CALI.org, and on the far right-hand side of the navigation bar is a link called support, and then follow that through FAQs. And auto-publish ends up giving you a unique URL that, while it's not hidden from the world, it's not distributed by CALI, and people could randomly guess, I suppose, and find it. But it's, for all intent and purposes, hidden, sort of like the key under your doormat sort of thing.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good. Try it out and let us know how it works for you.
All right.
And those archived webinars are at calivideos.blip.tv. So if anybody wants to check that out, they can.
And I've included that information in the screen here, so I guess once you get to it one time, you can find all of our webinars listed there.
Yes.
Well, are we done, Austin?
I think that's everyone.
Well, I want to thank everyone for spending part of the afternoon with us, and send us topics, because we do these every couple weeks, and we're looking for topics that you'd like to have webinars on. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.